For sure, I have enjoyed every step of the way in terms of our introductory journey to Visions of Atlantis, but I have particular enjoyment when we reach an album opener, The Deep and the Dark, and then Wanderers, and now Pirates. I think, yes, we have, in fact, started on the initial work, and all have been strong openers, by the way, so I'm curious to see if Pirates will return, of a strong presence that I can imagine Visions of Atlantis faithfully will deliver on. In execution, I've really enjoyed this group, as many of you have, I'm sure. I mean, they have been, as I've acknowledged before, a frequent appearance in terms of the comment sections and recommendations, and I thank each and every one of you that have been long-standing fans of Visions of Atlantis. I know there are a bunch of you that approach this video from that dynamic. I thank you for bringing them to my attention, because I've had a real fun ride with this group in spotlighting, again, another noteworthy artist in the European metal regard, as there's so many these days, and it's a space that I cannot get out of with good reason. Although we have talent abroad for sure, the proficiency in the execution of what I've seen in the European metal foray has just bedazzled me, and Visions of Atlantis has been quite a welcome addition, my first ever Austrian group, and one of its symphonic metal and symphonic, melodic, and power metal intrusion with my favorite of those. And I'm open to melodic and power metal for sure, but you throw in symphonic, it's an immediate attraction point. I love anything orchestral with strings and presence. They've impressed me so much. I love the fantasy side of their pieces, the myth drive, but even the relatability to some pieces and the uniqueness of approach, right? Whether it be in the storytelling or perhaps just in the execution of the music and the artistry. Their symphonic songs, yes, have definitive traits I've seen explored around in other places within the symphonic genre or symphonic metal subset, but even then the track instructions feel particularly unique. Right, maybe in part it's the vocal delivery on behalf of both Clementine and again, feel free to disclose down below if I'm getting the pronunciation wrong on this, Michelle. The vocal harmony between those two is so attractive. The operatic hint to Clementine's voice I absolutely love, even though again it's a subtle intrusion when it does pop up, but it's a welcome one. I've had a great time. As I do generally any artist I consult on this channel, I feel quite honored to be gracing the talents of Visions of Atlantis and spotlighting them perhaps for a potential route of enjoyment for you, an inspiration, right? That's what I hope for with music and spotlighting it, not just for my own pleasure, right? As a devoted music connoisseur of many years, it is the first love in my life amongst the artistic languages, but in being able to showcase good art generally and inspire paths for you if you have not yet been exposed. And this album in particular I find of great interest. Not only are we now in the modern day where everybody else is sitting currently with Visions of Atlantis, so I have updated myself and intentionally taken a bit of a broad perspective to understanding their works and their many capabilities. That's why I dug back to 2018 with The Deep and the Dark, but now we're sitting in again in the modern lens, right, with Pirates. I like that flair. That definitely fits the defined vision of Visions of Atlantis for sure. But even then, it kind of echoes similar presences in the European vein, right? I like something with a bit of an individual flair. And speaking of pirates or anything that's sort of related, at least on imagery, right? I give as examples before. I'm a big German folk rock fan, and when you consider Feuerschwangs, which is more of like a Viking vibe, and then D'Artagnan is more musketeer, right? But I've said in both respects, there's a bit of a pirate flair to their works. This is directly pirates, and in fact this number is starting off the album, Pirates Will Return. So it's definitive. I like it. A bit of a historical twist, maybe, again amplifying the mythos to the piece and the fantastical feel of what Visions of Atlantis has manifested so creatively in their works. I'm ready to explore it. I hope you are too. For anyone who's approaching on a first name basis, I don't think it's going to take that much convincing to bring you in. And this video in particular that we're going to see accompanying the track, I did see this in passing for some of the other numbers I featured. I was originally going to use the live footage that was supplied on behalf of Napalm Records, their main label, who I've loved a number of the bands that they carry, and I've yet to explore some. I was originally going to feature those, but sometimes it's hard to hear every sort of notch in a number, right? That if it's so specific, right, it might kind of get veiled in the crowd experience or the live part. You might not notice every element. I did figure at the very least we'd humor one live experience, because many of you know in terms of music coverage, I love doing that with certain bands and being able to understand and see that communicated passion right in performance. Let's do that for Pirates Will Return. And there's just kind of, again, a fun vibe to the nature of this song based on the title. I'm like, this seems like a perfect fit to that interest, right? Pirates. Let's endure something fun. And I think, again, of live performances we've also witnessed along that vein, again, I bring up D'Artagnan, Trink Mein Freund, kind of fit in that. Again, more musketeer, but even that had a bit of a pirate swing. So I'm kind of like, okay, this seems like a perfect fit for a live performance, just to see, again, the band perform in front of us, and to feel like we're sort of in that live venue, though we're not. I would love to be one day, God willing. We'll see, but more Visions of Atlantis. I've loved the journey tonight with all of you. I can't wait to hear more. The stage presence helped amplify the emphasis, for sure. A good beat to engage us.
Thank you guys so much.
Okay, that's more so of a transitional element, I guess. Is this like a full-on live strings orchestra? Yes. Now I really want to see them live. Oh my gosh, that'd be so cool. All of their albums start with a softer interlude. On the symphonic territory, it's interesting. I didn't predict it going that way. That inflection is just so beautiful. So ethereal. Siren-like. Here we go, the builds. The key choice is perfect. I did not foresee this. But it's individual. I like it. That's beautiful. Even. I love that metal throttle though. I'm glad I chose this one to feature live, for sure. Nice. Oh, I got back on rage. That's good. That's snarl. The execution on that is just perfect. I wondered which way it would go, a raise or a decline. I love the personality of this group. Everybody's dressed up. Nice trade-off. That was good. Warranted. This feels adventurous for them. I love the darker delivery. My word, this is good. I wondered if there would be a build again on Origin, because we saw it isolated first. I'm like, it's no pattern for them to add some complexity to the adaptation of the song going forward. Seems I was right. It's a pattern. I honed in on it. I'm glad to see it going that way. Gorgeous presence. I love hearing again that reach. I was curious to see how high it would go. Her voice is singing more so again like in a higher mid territory. It doesn't necessarily reach that full operatic, but there's enough of a swing to hint at it. It's cool to see that development though. I love seeing the interest in terms of live experiences in Europe. I found complimentary in America, yes, but not to this level. Just the excitement and the passion. I'm like, I want to be there. So smooth. This is the conclusion that it's like, yep, just go for it, girl. So great. Let me join in. That's good. Beautiful execution. So fine-tuned. What a gorgeous piece to entertain. I mean, you talk about, again, setting vision to mood, right, in terms of the music. That feels like a pirate number. With a much more tragic flair, right? It's got that even pace, that emphasis, that percussion work that gives it, again, that unique style. But the key choice was unforeseen, right? I expected something a little more like a G or C pattern. I love what they went with. It feels particularly original and unique. And I love originality in music of such a beautiful flair. The symphonic drive on this, is this how it's normally performed in terms of an orchestra that accompanies them? That's fabulous. I'd love to see that. Just anything, like I said, symphonic metal instantly grabs at me, and to have a live orchestra perform for you to accompany the work, that'd be fantastic, right? Because many of her bands, and this is not in any way to serve as a diss, some of her groups might utilize a recording, right, to involve that, because maybe not everybody can bring in a symphonic element, right? Not everybody can bring in like a live orchestra, but in order to create an adequate experience, we have groups that maybe try different things just to accommodate. To have a live performance, that just makes the experience even better. And to see a group that's so invested again in that manifestation of the vision of what they're trying to establish, with like Pirates Will Return, right? Everybody in the pirate getup, I think it's freaking fantastic. They all look great. The vocal work on that, of course, to be expected, Clementine's vocals are just exquisite. They're angel-like, siren-like. Maybe it's a better comparison. Michelle's vocals, though. The snarl effect, the darkness in the application, that is so specific, and I loved it. That's different from the past works, right, where he's taking on more of a melodic flair. It's been a little more even and tends to overlap well, and it still does here, but it tends to be more of a direct overlap, at least in Silent, to where it doesn't feel that contrasting, other than just on a pitch and a natural, more masculine-esque delivery. It's synergistic with Clementine's, right? This is a bit differentiated. I love a darker flair to it. That ominous, foreboding nature, right? It amplifies the tragedy of the mood that the key sets in. And the application of the strings instruments, it's just such a perfect blending. My word, I love this number so much. It's great. And to have a live experience makes it all the better, right? I love to see that passion expressed, whether it be for the groups or the fans. I have not been to a concert. It's fun. Well, I've been to many concerts over the course of my life, especially when I was a child, but less so now, though I would love to be at more, especially for European groups. And for Visions of Atlantis, I would love to be at one day, if I ever get the opportunity. Concerts that I've been to, again, all American, It's weird that when you watch the crowd, you might have a packed theater, but it's like only the first couple of rows that seem so invigorated. The rest of everybody's maybe sitting down, standing up, and just watching. I've done my share of that too. It's weird. It's like totally different dynamics. But then you watch a live performance in Europe, and it's like everybody's there. Like, and not to speak again of maybe connection points in terms of maybe the genre or the feel of the song. Let's bring up Feuerschwangs again. If you've ever watched a live video from them, look at the crowd energy. It's just nuts. Or really any European groups, everyone seems alive. Everybody here, hands raised, going along with the hey, hey, it's like, it totally feels like it's in the mood. But it's an experience that I would love to have personally, especially in accordance to the many groups I listen to. But again, as I've said many times, I welcome the company of everybody, right? All of you happen to be maybe just welcoming, right, in broad taste to music, but maybe you're also metalheads like me, or just general rock enthusiasts. I don't have this connection personally. So people in my company would not probably attend a concert with me. They don't even know half these groups. I wouldn't be surprised if, again, Visions of Atlantis is a never unknown name. All the other ones have been. And everyone I've pushed, I've at least tried to advertise a couple, and no one's bitten yet so far. And I do a lot of heavy lifting to try and, again, inspire paths. Many of you, of course, have responded well, maybe in past occurrences to different groups, right? I've seen those connections be fostered, again, to my intention. It's so cool to see a manifestation of that ambition be brought to life. I just wish it was replicated in real life, and I wish maybe some people were as adventurous as I would be in going down the metal foray. No such luck, it seems, in person, but among all of you, it's a treat to share in your enjoyment with a never fabulous, it's such an adept talent, too, in the metal sphere. I love this group so much, and in the symphonic vein, they always outdo themselves. Each piece and each album has a bit of a fresh energy. This one in particular, I think, is going to be one of the more invigorating ones. And the past two have been quite a pleasure. But this one piques my curiosity, especially with the pirate theme and how well that was executed on the origin number. I'm looking forward to humoring more with all of you, as we're going to, in terms of fresh entrances. But for now, Pirates will return. What do you all feel about that number? I'd love to hear about it down below, and your point of approach if you wish to disclose. Longtime fan, I know there are many of you, first impressions. Feel free to share it down below. I think it's a fun number, sets up a great album, as to be believed, Visions of Atlantis. I'm now 12 numbers in terms of my viewing selection of what I've determined here, and I can't wait to humor more. But in propping up a good experience, you've given me a good tease with that number, and to couple on a fun live vision makes the experience all the better. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.